Greetings everyone from the Temple of Technology. I am your host, Scott James Magner, the idiot with a microphone. And today I'm making a number of videos about archiving physical media. This is the second of those videos dealing with the actual content of the DVDs rather than the content of the DVD cases. I have made the switch to my PC, my webcam, and actual microphone. Hooray! Because I just didn't like the way the footage looked on my camera phone when I was trying to capture stuff on my display. So I've switched to my actual streaming setup rather than, I don't have the blue screen behind me. I don't need it today. I'm simply making a video about how to use software. But you know, software. All right, so there's a lot to unpack, so let's get to it. I am going to look over here and move my face away. So I use several. In fact, I'm going to put my glasses back on now that you can't see the reflection in them. Very important stuff. All right, I use several programs to archive physical media. This is the most important of them. It's called Make MKV. It is a perfectly legal way to archive your own physical media. Just want to make that point. All of this is perfectly legal, depending on where you live. The MKV container is robust enough that you can stream straight from it. I use a second program to change MKVs and MP4s, and we'll get to that in just a moment. For starters, MKV has a very simple graphic interface here. For example, this is the drive I have a disk in that I want to look at. And I actually have two disks running here. Two disk drives, rather. So I'm going to set them both to read, and they are looking for tracks on the DVD that may contain physical content. It takes just a minute or two to read a disc, so I won't bore you with a whole bunch of craziness. I just want to show you how your DVD is actually set up. It seems like it's just magic, right? You put the disc in, it plays, but it's all, DVDs are comprised of a series of playlists and tracks. And these are the tracks that my disk drive has found on the third season of Justified. If you look here, these files are all about the same size, but there's some important differences between them. You see 7 chapters, 8 chapters, 6 chapters. So, this is roughly 45 to 50 minutes of content each track I've got on here. But you see that there are 8 tracks on disc 3, and that's just not true, because I have the card for the inside here, and you see that there are only 4 tracks on disc 3 and not 8. So some of these tracks are phantom. They don't exist. Or rather, they do exist, but they exist in a different format. For example, these 2 files are the same file. They're the same episode. So we're just going to unselect all the tracks on there. This 8 chapter one includes previously on Justified. And so it's pretty easy extrapolation to figure out that each one of these that's slightly larger than the other one is the actual track that we need. It gets tricky when you look down here at, for example, disc 1 of season 6. And disc 1 of season 6 has a whole bunch of tracks on it because there are 5 episodes on this disc and not 4. So we're going to follow the same metric, though. We're going to assume that the even number tracks are the correct ones. 8 instead of 7, 7 instead of 6, 7 instead of 6, 7 instead of 6. Because I like the previously on. You don't need it, right? Especially when you're going to be viewing the content on a home media server or streaming it to your phone from that server. You know, you can just go episode to episode to episode, but previously on is good because there's no guarantee that you're going to be binging the entire thing. Sometimes you'll wait a week between episodes. Sometimes you wait a month between episodes, right? I have some a podcast I listen to called Lazy Doctor Who, or it's 2 people who love Doctor Who are going through all the old Doctor Who content, which I recommend that everybody does, by the way. But it's called Lazy Doctor Who for a reason. There's no set schedules. There's no time. There's no format. It's just the two of them with a microphone sitting on their couch, just having watched Doctor Who, and they talk about it. It's as wonky gets, right? It's wonderful stuff. So I am going to, having selected the tracks, I'm going to save the tracks to a folder. So you can do this one of two ways. You can create an individual folder for each individual disc, which is how I did most of my media content. But it turns out that when the DVD has metadata in the tracks, it works out a lot better. So I've got this folder here called Disc 5 that I am going to put Season 6 into, just for bookkeeping. You see it's not here. I have to go make a personal selection for Disc 5. Alright, so it's going to do these 5 episodes of Season 6 into the Disc 5 folder. This is my second attempt at doing this video, believe it or not, because I am an idiot and my microphone was not hooked up. It's hooked up fine for every other video program that I've got on my computer, for doing Zoom calls, for... Computer, stop. I use the C word. Alexa gets confused. Here is Season 5's existing tracks, and we'll deal with those in a moment, because we are going to save the rest of Season 5 to the same folder. And this folder is where I previously archived Season 4, and we'll go into what that means in a minute. So it takes about half an hour, 25 minutes to half an hour, to get the MKVs created and set up. And I'm not going to make you watch all that. I've got a number of things that I need to show you for what it takes to get these things squared away. So I know what these episodes are. I know the names of them, but that's not how a database archives them. A database archives them by specific keys. For example, the name of the season here and the episodes. So that's what we want to do for these. So we're going to rename these MKV files before we change them into MP4 files. And we're just going to do a little bit of shorthand because the information is already there for us. Justified S5 EO1. How do I know that that is correct? Well, I'll show you. As soon as my C word finishes processing. Look, it popped us all the way down there. All right. There's two different ways to get the information that you need to have on the disk. And one way is to use the TV database that Plex calls from. Plex is a server architecture that you can get. It's free to make a Plex account. It's free to host a Plex account and do a bunch of things. But if you want to pay, which I did, I have a lifetime pass to Plex, you get a lot more options, including live TV and access to a bunch of content. So here we are on the DVD database, and here's Justified. You had information about the show, you know, genres, however you want to square these things away. We are now on Season 5. This should be the very first episode of Season 5. Well, it is the first episode of Season 5, but it should correspond to the track that I have called that. And one of the ways that I figure out what is I track the writers and directors. So Graham Yost, Fred Golan are the writers, Michael Dinner is the director. Okay. This isn't always the best way to do it, because you can have writers do multiple things in a given season. So I also back that up here with Wikipedia. Wikipedia is awesome. It is crowdsourced information. It has, a lot of times it has citations, right? And so you can get a bunch of things together. So for Graham Yost, Fred Golan writers, Michael Dinner director. All right, we like that. Those things are all squared away. We're going to turn off my Facebook so it's not confusing to you. All right, so we want to check and double check that this is correct. And if it is, we are golden.
Isn't it true that...
So I don't need to watch this episode right now. I just need to gather data from it. And so this one has no previously on. It's the beginning of the season. But I also picked the wrong track when I was scanning. Okay, so there was the opening credits. You see that there's names popping up there for guest stars. You can check guest stars as well, so... Don McManus. Is there a Don McManus guest star? No, it must mean he's a season regular. Production designer, producers. Now you could just guess, and you'll probably be right with the guess. I guessed. That guy's naked. I didn't see a writer in here anywhere, which annoys me. It's actually Bruce and Michael Dinner. Well, he's the director. Let's turn off the audio for that. Yeah, we don't need the audio for that. Michael Dinner, Graham Yost, he's the writer. Elmore Leonard created the character. Graham Yost and Fred Golan, that's what we wanted to see there. Based on the short story Fire in the Hole. Directed by Michael Dinner. All right. So, we know I guessed right. That is Season 5, Episode 1. With that in mind, I can rename the rest of that disc based on personal experience. Because some discs, the tracks are in random order, but I've done 4 seasons of Justified so far out of 6, and they have always been in direct order. And DVDs are more likely to be in direct order than Blu-rays. Just a function of how things work. Also, people like to steal Blu-rays and pirate them and put them on the internet. That's not what I'm doing. I am not pirating anything. This is my content I am serving to myself. But you know what? I just can't go tracks 1 through 5, right? I have to pick the right tracks. And I have already sussed these out to make sure that they are the right tracks. We are doing this renaming for theater because we're making a video, right? It's all about you, my fans. 5. I said it'd be 5 on that disc. Excellent. Disc 2 is going to work the same way. I checked out these tracks briefly. So we'll just start where we left off with 6. Now I've been doing this for a few months now, right? It's not hard to learn. Obviously I did it and I'm an idiot. But it takes practice. And I've done, I'll show you just how much I've done since the middle of October the middle of November rather, when I started doing this in earnest. I think that's 10. Did I lose track? I might have lost track. I might have skipped 9. I did skip 9. This should be 9. Ha ha. This is why you have someone check your work, by the way. If you're the only person who can do that, you're kind of screwed. All right. So, we're going to let this keep rolling along. I could rename these files now. I'm not going to because A, it's boring, and B, I have more things I want to show you. And that's disc 1. I could pop up here to disc 5. You see that disc 5 is moving right along. In fact, we're just going to rename this now. So we can do some neat things here. Okay, so we've got our TV database, we've got our Wikipedia, and now we've got my server. where I have uploaded seasons 3 and 4 today. And I'll show you how that works. This is the 13 episodes of season 3. This is the 13 episodes of season 4. And just to make things fun, we're going to upload episodes 1 of season 5. And episode 1 of season 6. Which is why we did that renaming real quick. I can stream straight from MK4s. I have enough bandwidth. I have no problems with my server and how it works. I use a Synology NAS. It works pretty well. Okay. Now once these are uploaded, doesn't take long. All right, before I go into how that works, I want to talk about the file structure itself here. So you see the files here are a little bit smaller than the NKV files that are being created by MakeMKV. That's because I have modified them using a second program called VideoProc that we're going to go to in just a second. But first we're going to go to my actual Plex server. All right. TV shows. You see here I've got a lot of TV shows because I have a lot of TV shows in my media collection. All right, so currently Justified has 4 seasons of content. But we're going to change that. We're going to ask it to scan my library files, which points the Plex database at my Synology server in the folder we just saw. And you see right there, boom, it jumped up a few more episodes. It added 2 more seasons. And it's thinking a lot about how to properly display the content, but we don't have to wait for that. We can just jump ahead. All right, because it's just got the basic information here that I've supplied for the series proper. And once it knows what's really going on, which is, when this stops, there we go. It's going to pop up a couple recommended poster covers. I kind of want the posters to match, so I'm going to set that here. Everyone's got their cowboy hat on. That's what's important. Now these are covers that have been created and uploaded by people like myself who like to archive discs and who like to have things squared away. Look at there, Murder of Crows. That is the correct title for episode 1, as we have seen here. Murder of Crows. And if we just want to pop over to season 6, we'll see we got that one right. Fate's Right Hand. Okay, so we'll go here to Plex. Pop us out there, pop us in here. Fate's Right Hand, boom, like that. We're all squared away. So this is how it looks when you've got a raw MKV file up there. And the thing that's going to kill you is the bit rate. So I mean, I don't want to go really deep into what all these numbers mean, but that's a lot of bit rate for not a lot of content, because the video resolution of a straight MKV here is just the same as it is on DVD. It's 480p. It's not the best. And when you're watching on your phone or on your TV or on your computer, it's going to look like crap. So we're going to do a little post-processing on these files to make sure that we've got exactly what we need. And that's where the next thing comes in, VideoProc. Again, perfectly legal. You can make movies with this. In fact, I'm going to use VideoProc to process the video I'm creating right now, talking to you, into a proper YouTube video. So here's season 5, episode 1. And we're going to do the same thing again here with season 6, episode 1. All right. I want to check on what we got going here. I like to... ABR is better than CBR. Again, there's a bunch of videos I can share to tell you why that's true, but this compresses things, this doesn't compress things. 2-pass encoding is something I use nonstop to make sure that I've got that my C-word machine, COMPUTER, which if I say out loud will trigger my Alexa behind me. 2-pass encoding makes sure that it goes through once, finds all the things that should be episodes, should be the right content, and then it does it again to make sure. I upconvert to 720p, everything. So DVDs I upconvert to 720p, I downconvert Blu-rays and HD DVDs to 720p. Because 720p with a good solid bitrate like this gives me workable files. It makes sure that they're streamable. One of the reasons I use VideoProc here is it makes use of my graphics card, and it makes good use of my graphics card. So if you see here, it does encoding, processing, decoding. It does all the stuff. I use H.264 instead of HEVC. HEVC is better. It's better all around. But I cannot guarantee that every device I'm ever going to stream this content on will handle HEVC. For example, my iPhone does not. My iPad does not. My computers do. But this card that I bought 2 years ago is still going strong. It should last me another 2 years unless I go crazy and get a much better one specifically for video processing. I don't play a lot of Call of Duty or Counter-Strike, games that require a lot of quick, fast frame rates. But I did start playing Destiny 2, and I can definitely tell that my video card works great for that. All right, we're going to pop this up here. Now, normally I would move this to another screen, but I just want to make sure that you could see everything in the video. It's going to take about 20 minutes. Possibly less to do each episode here. So it takes about 5 minutes to make an MKV. It takes about 20 minutes to do the up conversion that I like to do to make sure I've got the data proper. I didn't get rid of it. I just insmalled it. All right. So while we were talking, the first of these finished up. So season 5 is done. It's over. We're finished with it. I'm now going to throw in the second disc of season 6. Again, I'm not going to make you watch the entire process, but you want to be careful when you're using 2 drives too, because if you accidentally tell one drive, you accidentally tell one of these MKV windows to read the content, then you tell the other one to read the content, they will both try to read the content, and then neither of them will read, because saving creating the MKV file and trying to figure out what to do with an MKV file use a lot of the same resources, and your COMPUTER will get confused, and then you'll have to close the program and usually restart your computer, which, you know, we don't want to do today. We want to have happy times. Happy times. All right, here we go. We learned from our last bit that previously on is important to us. So 6 and 7, 7 and 8, 7 and 8, 6 and 7. So this is probably a slightly longer episode. That's okay. Disc 2, we already determined it. We're putting Disc 2 in, rather, Season 6 into Disc 5. So we'll do that now. And then we'll use this very helpful button of Make MKV. All right. We're going to go back to Plex real fast. So you saw the data I have here on the MKVs. I want to show you the data that's here on an MP4. So you see immediately that we've got 720p, good frame rate, MP4 constrainer. It's got a good audio profile. One of the things, if there's commentary tracks, you have to set them to burn in. I typically don't do that. Because if I want to watch commentary, I'm going to put the disc in and watch the commentary, right? It's a process. I love watching commentary. But it's a more personal process than streaming to me. It's sit down, have the DVD, you know, book some time to really appreciate the filmmaker or creator and what they're doing. But these are pretty much your optimum settings for streaming content. And if you're oh, I got a 1080p TV, or oh, I got a 2K monitor, or I got a 4K TV, guess what? 720p is still high definition, right? It looks great. It's your TV will do the work. It'll upgrade it. It'll make sure that it looks fine as you do. I mean, recently I recorded from an HD DVD. I made an MKV of the movie The Game, and just to see how it would look, I remastered it in 2K from the 1080p to 2K, and I then went and watched it on a 4K process, and it looked great. It was amazing. The depth of field was there. The content was there. It wasn't shaky or rippy or teary. But I also did it in 720p, and it looked pretty much exactly the same. It was still HD. There weren't a lot of special effects shots in there, right? Which is where 4K really shines. You're able to get better seams, better movement all the way around on that. Well, that is more or less how I archive things. Oh, wait. We want to go with this. Yeah, we go basic image. So it takes time. It takes a lot of time, right? And time is what I have now that I'm not working. It's not an excuse. It's simply while I'm looking for work or writing, I need to take a break every so often and do something slow and relaxing, like cutting paper for DVD inserts or hearing that button go off so that I can swap the disc out. There's my glasses again. When I'm doing a lot of streaming, I put my contacts in simply so that you don't have the reflection in the glasses. The glasses are better all around for me. I like wearing glasses. I'm very comfortable wearing glasses. I've been wearing glasses for most of my life at this point. Yeah, most of my life. I started wearing glasses when I was 14. And I had the wrong glasses when I was 14. They had tinted lenses. I still to this date, many years later, we'll go into how many exactly in a few videos from now. But I didn't know what the color of a sheet of paper was for the longest time because I was used to white being brown. And that was the 80s for you. Now it's the 2020s, and I have bifocals, or progressive lenses rather, but they're bifocals. They're multifocals rather, because they all the way down there. But instead of the tinted glasses, I have an anti-reflective coating, which oddly enough is green-ish. So when the camera picks it picks up a big black hole there. And if I had my green screen running behind me, you would see through my eyes whatever content was being projected on the green screen layer. And sometimes it's hilarious, right? When I'm playing a video game that's very bright, my eyes will just be yellow all the way through the video. And that's no good for anybody, especially not me. So I'm used to not wearing my glasses. I don't need them a lot for close-up stuff, although in the last few years I've needed them more. For example, I know what everything on my screens say. They're a bit blurry, but I know what they're supposed to say, and so my brain does that extra bit of processing, right? It picks up the extra pixels and says, oh, this should say this. But if I lean forward a little bit, I'm fine. And then you can see my eyebrows. So very important. By the way, I've not been drinking this afternoon. You might think I am, because I often do drink. But today's sponsor is Orangina. Orangina, a delicious not soda soda. I first was exposed to Orangina on a trip to Europe about 20 odd years ago, and I love this stuff. I can't get enough. I'm not getting superpowers anytime soon from it, though. That makes me sad. But this is what I do. This is how I make archive. This is how I archive products. And I'm currently archiving Justified because a friend of mine wanted to see it. And I have no problem with that. That's how Scottflix works. So it's pretty much the same as me handing you the DVD or watching it here in my house. I control the location of the media. I own the media. I don't have a license to distribute the media, and so I'm not distributing it. I am simply sharing it. And that's legal until it's not. We'll see what happens. This video might get taken down for, the 2 seconds that I had of the audio for Justified episode 5, season 5, episode 1. But this is the kind of thing that keeps me up at night, or rather allows me to not go crazy when I'm up at night and I cannot sleep because of my broken brain. And I hope you enjoyed this brief tutorial, very brief tutorial about how to make MP4s and archive them on your personal media server. So until next time, I am the idiot with a microphone, and I am signing off.